Sarah, what do you think? Should we kick off? And
I think that's perfect. I was just yes.
Yeah, I mean, just welcome to Amanda as well. I'm trying to look at other names. Krista, Aaron. Hi, Aaron. I spoke to Aaron quite a bit. I don't think I've missed anybody out there, but welcome to everyone. So, as hopefully you've gathered already, that this is a fairly light and hopefully fun and open exercise in just talking about films based around the film list that I've compiled from everybody's submissions. So what we're going to do is, let me just get my thing up here. So just to, first of all, to let you all know, we are recording. Okay, so if you don't want to be on camera or you don't want to have your voice recorded, then, you know, don't, basically, because I'll put this out later on with hopefully very few edits. And as part of a post that I'll share more of the information about the rundown and the spreadsheet that I've got, all of the data. So you'll see the entire list. And I'm not going to give any details away about that right now, because we've got a little quiz to start off with where you can guess some of the stats that came out of all of the submissions, because it was really interesting actually just sort of going through it and sort of thinking about what people had chosen and what the criteria of judgment that they used. And maybe that's something we can kick off and just sort of go around quickly and have a few people comment on how they sort of defined what kind of films they put in their list and what's their sort of criteria for making that choice. So we'll do that, which won't take a little bit of time. No, there's no prizes, I'm afraid, for that, just the posterity of being right. Then we'll count down from 10 to 6. So what I'll do is I'll put up each film individually or sequentially, and then what I've done is I've put the names of the people who have voted for that particular film as either their first or second choice, and if they're here, they can comment on why they liked it, and why it's so high, and then anybody else obviously can then chime in as well and say, you know, I liked it too, or it was high in my list, or maybe even I didn't like that. For me, it wasn't on my list. And then Sarah's going to announce the raffle winner, and then we'll go from five to 1, and then at the end have some final thoughts and also sort of highlight some of the events that are coming up around Substack and anything else that anybody wants to bring up. I'm quite happy to, you know, for people to chime in whenever, but I think if it would be good if you're not getting the chance to talk and you want to talk, stick your hand up and I'll try and keep some moderation without being all teachery about it, as it were. Okay, so the pros and cons of making a list. Can you all see the text, by the way? Can somebody just give me a thumbs up that you can all see that? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah. So I guess one of the things that I was thinking about when I was compiling is just how diverse the types of titles and what people constituted a film. So some people were putting TV shows in there. Some people were putting kind of gallery exhibitions as well. And then there was really interesting kind of balance, or balance is probably the wrong word, but spread in terms of films that had definitely had a later release to films that have been released earlier in the year. So there was a sort of a concertina effect at the top, and then in the sort of middle sections there were films that were on a lot of lists, but they were kind of in the middling section. So it's really interesting. And I was just thinking just how much, when a film gets released and the context by which it is seen by us, you know, whether it's the beginning of the year, whether it's at a film festival, whether we've gone to see it just for entertainment with our friends, or whether we've gone out because we definitely like the director, or any of those questions, or when later on, for example, at the end of the year, we want to make a list, or we want to have a view of the film year, you know, for whether we're doing a Substack on it or just for our own sense of what were the films that I wanted to see this year and catching up with them. Because I was always worried about sort of recency bias with various films that I was watching. And then there was a film, for example, like Nickel Boys, which was a 2024 film, I think, in the United States. And I first saw it in September last year. So, but it didn't get released in the UK until sort of March time. So it was just, not many people seen it in the UK, even before the Oscars. And it didn't really get a lot Oscar chat, unfortunately. I just thought it was such an amazing film, but it sort of fell in a weird time for me. So it's on my list for this year, even though I saw it 14, 15 months ago. So it's interesting to sort of place those films, I think, for me anyway, in terms of the things that I'd seen earlier on in the year. I was like, this is a great movie. And what I do is there's a website in the UK called Distribution Past, Present and Future, and you can look from January all the way through to December and beyond in each year and see when the films have come out in the UK. And I tend to go through it again because we record an episode of our top 10 films for the Cinematologist podcast, which is going to go out this week. So those were the sort of things that were in my mind in terms of the way that I was compiling the list. I think it's probably mine is pretty much is probably more mainstream than most people's, but I count mainstream as sort of film festival art house movies rather than, you know, experimental stuff that maybe hasn't been released. So those are the kind of my thoughts when it comes to sort of compiling the list. Sarah, I don't know whether you wanted to add to any of that to start us off.
Yeah, it's interesting making a list like this, because at least for me, I think with this list, I was very cognizant of the fact that like there are things that if I was doing like a true best of list might not have made my list. But there were movies that I think that I saw that they were definitely indies. They were smaller. They're not like non-D, but they were indies. And I think they deserve to be seen for various reasons. And so I put them on my list knowing that it was a bit of not a cheat, but like, you know, it's sort of like what you said, like what constitutes a best of, what constitutes a list, what constitutes, you know. And so my top film I stand by, even though it's going to get me kicked out of FilmStack, I don't care, because it is the most commercial of the commercial things this year. But the two indies that I was really excited about were my 9 and 8, and then my 765 were all movies that had flaws, but that I hope get wider attention for various reasons. And then I've seen so few movies that was really it.
Yeah.
I didn't even get a top 10. So, which is why I was able to be a bit looser with, you know, what I included and trying to spread the love around and balance out my super commercial top choice. And I'm probably going to post them in a note on Filmstack at some point. But I'd love to hear everyone else's lists if anyone wants to chime in with, you know, their thought process, what they chose. If you want to reveal your list now, anyone? Amanda.
Anyone any thoughts on their process?
Oh wait, Amanda, I think you're muted. Wait,
am I unmuted now?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm actually cheating because I didn't do this, but I just wanted to come on and see everyone's faces. I just felt I didn't see enough movies, and it's always really hard for me, like you said, to even recall. Like, I don't make a list as I go. I'm not on like Letterboxd or anything. I should probably start doing something like that. So it just felt really overwhelming at the time to do this, but I wanted to see you all and say hello and hear what you have to say. So I just want to say that. I'll probably be I'm quiet, but
welcome. Great. It's funny. Nice to see you. Nice to see you face to face. You know, even though through this medium. But
exactly.
I'm here for the same reason, Amanda. I didn't do a list. I haven't seen enough movies.
That was a thing that so many people said. So many people said that they were, and actually, I was like, well, you know, it's, you know, the data that I'm collecting is not classified information. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. It's fine. But it's funny. It's that sense of how many films does one need to see to be able to say, oh, I can at least, whether it's based around your own personal taste and you think these are just the films I like, or whether I'm able to try and distance myself and say, okay, I can see that these films are, you know, good movies. I'm gonna put them on a list of some kind. It's funny how people have that sort of sense of wanting to be, I don't know, wanting to feel that they have the permission to make a list because they've seen enough films, you know.
I think it's super great you're both here. I love it. So come whenever.
I will say that Letterboxd is helpful in terms of like just trying to remember those earlier releases.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder about how many people actually do record everything that they see, because I know there's some directs, like Alex Ross Perry is quite famous for logging everything. And, you know, like Letterboxd makes it very easy to do that. But I've often started those kinds of lists, but I'm very bad at keeping up with it. It just goes out the window very quickly.
I could say that my son Ray, who's 19, and all their friends who are all filmmakers, but they religiously do Letterboxd. Basically, as soon as they come home from the theater.
Oh, wow.
And there's a lot of other benefits to Letterboxd as far as building audience for your film and a lot of marketing aspects too.
Yeah.
But some people have talked about on Filmstack.
It's interesting because there's there are now these sort of different ecosystems, aren't they? And that's obviously one of the issues that we all know about the internet. So Filmstack is a film movement or a film, you know, group, whatever you want to call it. But then if you spend all your time on Letterboxd, now that has its own, it has a podcast, and there is a sort of direction of travel, and there's a sort of ethos behind it as well. And it's funny how these sort of groups in, you know, I guess it's just the niche aspect of the way the internet rates, you know. Alex, go ahead.
I think Taylor also, so we'll start like a queue, I think.
Yeah. No, I've got
Taylor was first.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Taylor. Taylor first, and then Alex after.
Oh my goodness, he could have gone. Amanda, Tom, full confession, I didn't do it either, because I do live in rural Tennessee, and I messaged Dario and I was like, can I still come, because I'm not gonna be able to fill this out. I did see maybe like 3, but I was curious in the like contextualizing the list, Dario and Sarah, as I'm sure you've seen the winners too. Like, do you think, like in my mind, it's the reason I love Filmstack, is so many people go to festivals that I just don't go to. So they hear about movies I wouldn't know unless they were like, oh my gosh, this movie. And so I'm curious, especially from like an international perspective, like, was this list a pretty like thorough, not just like the Hollywood hitters, as Sarah said, her number 1 was a commercial hit, but like, was it a pretty comprehensive list of movies released this year, or was there kind of a bias in terms of like, because access is so hard right now and it's so fragmented. Like I'd be curious, like, were there clear winners of like a top 10, or was it like obscure movies no one's ever heard of and couldn't?
Well, the fantastic thing about the list is, and I'm going to try and do this without giving away any answers. So we can talk through it when the answers to the quiz come out, because that's what it's based on, is questions like that. But I would say that there was an incredibly broad range of films. However, there were clusters at the very top. And then I think as well, you could see there were quite a number of films that were sort of on people's lists, and they were around the sort of mid-mark. Do you know? And they were clustered together. There was one film particularly that ended up on the top 10, which I'll point that out when we get to it, that it wasn't anybody's first choice, which is kind of interesting. So it had a lot of votes, but they weren't really high votes. They were all in the middle, right? And then towards the end, I'm going to publish the entire list with all the scores when I publish the video. And there was a lot of films which I'd never heard of, and some, you know, quite a few directors which I've never heard of as well. So it's a fantastic list as well, just to sort of go and discover new work, I think. So that was a really interesting thing as well. And some people who had submitted were very much, you know, like me, it's what is the stuff I've seen this year, which is biased towards what's available. And then there were some lists that were like, there were no mainstream films on it whatsoever. And a lot of the films, like, you know, a good portion of them, 7 or 8 of them, were of films that were very low budget, very indie, probably not distributed. So they were being very, I don't want to say they were being political, but clearly that they wanted to use their list to sort of forward those types of movies, rather than just, you know, having the same old movies that all the popular movies that everybody's got easy access to, as you say. So as we go through, we'll do that after Alex has spoken, then we'll go on to the quiz, and then we can talk about the stats and and answered more of your questions in that sense, Taylor. Alex, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I really enjoyed the exercise. I've never done anything like this before, and by the end of it, my film watching habits, it was proved to me how woefully inadequate they are. I got to the end and I thought, this is a terrible diet of films, which when I was looking through the films which I'd done. So it's this list, and the which I found really it felt like a chore. That was just because every time I came to it, I was like, oh God, this really sucks. I really have to think about the films which I've done. But it has now it's become part of my New Year's resolution and I think the films which people have this list, which we'll see, it's gonna be, I'm looking forward to it becoming my diet for like sort of the next year, because it's really, the films I watched were really bad this year. And the second thing which I wanted to say, which was just on the back of the Letterboxd. I just forgot the name.
Letterboxd. Yeah.
I would love, and I know that Ted Hope would say just do it yourself, but I don't know enough about it, for someone to write or figure out a good way to, like, how Filmstack can use Letterboxd. Maybe there is one already, maybe I've missed out, but like what a good way, how it can not just become another like just another time sink, how it could be used as a tool. Anyway, that's slightly off topic, but I just wanted to say that before I forgot it.
It looks like we have a few hands.
Yeah.
Tom, I think, was first.
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Alex, just in response to that, Elliot Grove posted on Letterboxd. So if you look through his Substack, you'll find it. I thought it was excellent.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was just going to say that Letterboxd can be really great for watch lists. So, if you want to focus on Substack as more of your writing platform, that you can then maybe just create a watch list or a playlist of films related to what you're writing about, and then sort of cross promote there. That might be one way of sort of diving in.
I will. Oh, just a quick add to the Letterboxd. I just started using it like a month ago, and it's kind of like, not an obsession, but I like really enjoy it because I love lists. And I started using it. I'm actually posting tomorrow because I have my Criterion Channel curriculum for January of homework I gave myself, like experimental films. And I think some films you like, Dario, that I'm excited to talk to you, because I feel like we like the bloody sort of action, like a Lone Assassin international film. But I started using it as curriculum, like a watch list that I gave myself like one subject. Like one of it is like in time cinema or suburban NUI. And like, I think it's really good for that purpose, in terms of like, not to sound like school girly, but like it's like homework where you have, and I think depending on even like your mood, you can be like, what list do I go to when I'm feeling this way? And I think it's just a great tool in that. I haven't even begun writing reviews or like Letterboxd top 4, but it's such an easy way to make a list, and it's so visually pleasing because all the posters are there that it gets you kind of even more excited to like you said, I would be happy, Dario, to make a Letterboxd list of these films for Filmstack.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, because it's very fun.
So was there anybody I've missed? Did anybody else want to come in just before I move on?
I will just say, sorry, really quickly,
with
the Letterboxd thing, they're also starting to do rentals. So just as an FYI, they're opening that up. Somebody did post on Substack about that. I know nothing about Letterboxd. I'm not on Letterboxd. Don't ask me. But they're doing rentals, and you can look into that too. And that's a really good way for like maybe indie and non-indie stuff to break out. But now I'm totally excited for Dario's stats, because they're actually really exciting. I've seen them. So
cool. Right. Just very quickly before I go on to that, the one thing about lists, and some people I very rarely get much crap on social media. I'm quite lucky in that sense because I ignore most of it. But like, there is that sort of sense of what lists are doing are kind of, they're narrowing the way of thinking about things. And there's this piece called, a few years ago, this was a really big thing in academia, particularly like the listicle, Buzzfeedization of thought, basically it was called. And there's this piece called Against Lists by this academic called Eleanor Gorfinkel, who works down at King's in London. And this was like the text of We Hate Lists. So, but I think exactly what you were talking about there, Taylor, is I think that they're great as a collectivizing process and an educational process to be able to sort of look into areas that you perhaps might not be familiar with. And I think, my sense of this list as well is it's just as subjective and just as throwaway as any other kind of list. It's, I'm not interested in sort of redefining canons or anything like that, but it's just interesting to take a snapshot of what people are choosing, especially our group, on Substack. So, okay, there are 5 questions and they're all just kind of guess. So put your guesses in the chat and we'll see who comes closest to the right numbers on all of these questions. All right. So first question, the number of films voted for in total. So and we'll give you a clue. Should we give a clue in terms of how many lists were submitted? Yeah, that will be a help because that's not a question that I've asked, right? So there's there were 53 lists in total that were submitted, right? So how many total?
No, what'd you say 120? We said the same thing.
Ooh, 180.
Wow,
200.
120, 200, 180. These are very good guesses, I have to say. Anyone else want to put it in before I reveal? 143.
Very
So
specific.
theoretically, it should have been 530 films, but I guess not everybody had 10 films.
No, but obviously people are choosing the same films. If you see, obviously all 53 aren't choosing 10 different films. A lot of people are choosing the same films. So
this is why I'm not a professor.
Okay.
I think we have one who's super close.
We have a clear winner, that's for sure. So
180.
The answer is 191. So Amanda,
wow,
is definitely close to that. So yeah,
we were all in the ballpark though.
1 point. Yeah, you were all pretty close. Like 200 is a good guess as well. 160 is up there, and 180 as well. So yeah, all good guesses. Okay. So yeah, just to say on that. That answers a little bit what Taylor was asking in terms of the breadth of films that were actually chosen, which is that's a big number of films. And you might have thought, well, with 53 lists, there may be. I would have put that lower if I was just guessing off the top of my head before everything came in. But obviously that is an eclectic mix. Okay, next question. How many films were voted first, but that was its only vote? So there were a number of films that were somebody's favorite film of the year, never appeared again on the list, just once. So Tom 20, Alex 3.
Good guesses.
Guesses. Taylor 7, Amanda 8, Krista 5, Mel 8. Wow, Amanda, are you channeling something here? You're getting very close. Mel's good too. So the answer is 10. So there were 10 films that somebody had picked as their favorite and no one else had chosen that film at all. So here's that list of 10. So the one that sticks out for me on there that is, well, there's 2 that I think, wow, only one person chose that film. And the 2 are A Complete Unknown and House of Dynamite, because they're quite 2 big popular films, but they only got 1 vote and they were somebody's favorite. Sarah,
those are the only 2 I saw.
House of Dynamite was my favorite. I don't understand. Everyone's crazy.
So, Alex, tell us about that. Why was that your favorite film of the year?
Just because it really did everything for me that a film did, and I'd gone in and seen in the cinema a number of real doozies, and then House of Dynamite came in, and I could not think about anything else for the next like 3 days. Wow. I mean, we went out, we built a nuclear shelter in our backyard. I mean, like the whole, it really took me to town. And I was in a cinema with like 3 people, and it felt like we were in a cinema, and it was a picture house, so it was a big one. But it felt like we were in a cinema with hundreds of people because we could all hear each other. And it was just that, it was that movie, that thing where you feel like you've connected with someone else. I mean, you've become shit scared with someone else, right, with these 3 other people who I'm sure have all built bomb shelters as well. But yeah, it was that boggles my mind that no one else put it on the list anywhere.
I know. I was surprised with that one. It didn't get any. I mean, it's like it totally made for you, that film, obviously. Alex, Taylor, come in on that if you want to.
I guess I should have looked up what films came out this year, because I've seen a couple of those. Right. But I thought Pavements was wonderful in terms of like experimental, like weird in a good way, not in like a pervy way. As a lot of indie films are. It was just like, wow, Alex, you really pushed the form there. And it was a remarkable just project from a perspective. And I was shocked that more people didn't talk about it or see it. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that.
That film was the choice of my co-host on the Cinematologist podcast. That's his favorite film of the year, and nobody else voted for it. So we talk about that in depth on the show that's coming out in the next day or so. And he loves that movie, and he knows Alex Ross Perry as well. And I think it's a really fascinating breaking up of kind of representation and reality, and sort of taking apart the music documentary. And then that idea of you focus on a band, and the actual film that you make is kind of, the style of it is in keeping with what the band is like. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's.
I actually really saw it. Sorry, not to interrupt again. I saw it around the same time as A Complete Unknown. I think I wrote about it in a post very briefly, because I feel like everyone was talking about like Austin Butler and Timothy Chalamet and their performance in these biopics, and like how, they like really committed. And I was like, can we talk about Joe Keery though? Because literally his line where he goes, "I don't want to be Steven anymore," like, to me, hit me like a freaking freight train, where he was like, "I don't want to do this anymore." And I was just like, man, this is incredible. Like, you talk about a meta movie that should be just a conversation starter. Like, he was like, I don't want to be this guy anymore. Like, I'm so over this. I was just like, dude, that was breaking the fourth wall in a way that was fascinating to me. It's just like visceral.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, that's a great advert for the film. Sure. So that's one for everyone to see. Anyone else want to comment on any of those? Tom?
Yeah, so actually I did see The Complete Unknown and House of Dynamite. And I'm wondering about biases. So I really love The Hurt Locker. So I had the expectation of what I was going to get, and really liking Catherine Bigelow. And then the Complete Unknown, the majority of it was filmed 10 minutes from my house in Freehold, where Bruce is from. So it was very familiar to me. Actually, some of Ray's friends were extras, background actors. But especially at the beginning of the movie, I thought the story was really compelling, of seeing his artistry in the village and what have you. But I brought in biases when I watched it. So I'm curious how that plays into it. I mean, it has to, right?
It's got to do, hasn't it? I mean, what is is another word for bias just taste? The stuff that you happen to like, I mean, and as well, there may be, you want to put films on a list. When it's something like this, it's just fun. You put films on a list of filmmakers that or you like, or you've always liked. We can't get away from it. There's there's those filmmakers or those styles of films that we just are naturally drawn to, and they can sort of overtake a little bit, you know, in terms of I mean, I don't even want to call it a bias, but we can go into, I mean, there's often movies I'll go into and I'll think, I know I'm kind of going to like this before I start because I've maybe read something or, you know, whatever. And there's others the same way, or I'm like, I'm not sure about this.
Maybe it's predisposed.
Yeah, maybe
predisposed to like it. Yeah.
Sarah, tell us a little bit about Freakier Friday. You know you're dying to.
It's so funny because I guess Alex isn't the only one who had a lone entry, because Freakier Friday was my top movie, but actually for a similar reason, funnily enough. First of all, I just think it's a really well-made movie, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being a really, like, if you do something well, then you did it well, and it's just top to bottom a well-made movie. And it's I actually really wanted to write a Substack post, and there was just too much going on in my life at the time, but it was going to be on Freakier Friday, non-cynical sequels and the magic of movies, because I saw it in an empty theater. It was literally me and a friend that I've known since second grade, and we saw it literally like right before it left the theaters, and we were in like those comfy chairs that they have, and nice. Like I hadn't seen her in a million years, and I was obsessed. I was obsessed with the first one. I used to sing the song all the time because I was a kid when it came out, and yeah, but they just did a really good. So many sequels are cash grabs, and so many sequels suck, honestly, and are just terrible and don't understand what people loved about the first one. And Freakier Friday was none of those things. It honored the first one. It had its own story. I cried a few times, like I was tearing up because it had a purpose and a message and an emotional grounding. And I don't care who knows that I love it. So yeah, I mean, there's one plot point that I have an issue with, but it's like, it was a throwaway joke that they shouldn't have, like, it ruins a little bit of the first one, but otherwise it was very clearly made by people who cared about this thing and who wanted to do it justice and who wanted to do a good job. And I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, I think that's a very Filmstack thing. When you're coming from a place of honesty and love, then, like, who cares that it's a little bit bubblegum and a little bit, like, you know, like, we can like all things. Like, one of my movies on my list is Violent Ends, and that movie is bananas. The end is insane. But it's like so violent. But I think we can be more than one thing, which is also what Freakier Friday is about. We can be more than one thing. And so I gave it the top spot on my list. We drove together. And so she drove me home, and we were singing like all of the classics from when we were kids. And I think that's something a movie should do. Like, I think we should have the movies that push us and push the boundaries and like break the form and are experimental. And I mean, About Him and Her would have been on my list if it had come out this year. And that movie is like, they don't even see each other. It's insane. We don't even see their faces. It's, oh fuck, sorry. It's being recorded, isn't it? Sorry. You can bleep me. But I guess my point is just like, we can have both things, and we should be allowed to have both things. And watch Freakier Friday. That was long. Sorry.
It's all right. Fantastic. Anyone else want to comment on Aaron? Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to backtrack to Pavements. Earlier this year, I went down the rabbit hole with the Cinematologist podcast, and there's a great episode where Dario and I believe Neil interviews Alex Ross Perry, and it's a great episode all about Pavements and this other film Alex Ross Perry made. But I just wanted to mention that it was fantastic.
Oh, thanks for the plug, Aaron. I appreciate it. Yeah, we did an episode with Alex Ross Perry. I'll stick that in the chat if I get a second to do it. So if you want to have a listen to that interview, Taylor or anyone else, then it's there for sure. Yeah, so let's move on to the next question then. I'm conscious of people's time. I don't want to go on forever tonight. So the third question: how many films were true one and dones, appearing only on the list once? So remember, there's 193 films. How many of them just appeared once?
I'm looking forward to Amanda being psychic again.
It's too much pressure now.
Sorry.
Okay, so we've got actually this is interesting because this was one that we were when you saw this, Sarah, you were like, oh right, okay, that's interesting because these are quite a way out. Okay, so the answer is
It's surprising.
120. Right. So what that tells me is that there were lots and lots of films that were on the list that were kind of very specific to the person who'd submitted. You know what I mean? It was like maybe something that hadn't got a general release, or they'd seen a specific situation, or they just really loved and nobody else was really talking about. So that's why that cluster at the top is quite clear, the sort of top 25, top 35. And then there's a long list of films that had 1 or even just 2 votes at the bottom. So there's lots of stuff there to pick apart when I publish it. Okay, question 4. How many films were a single point cameo? So just 1 point. You have to have my 3 answers together. Very good. So again, 190 odd films. How many just got the 1 point? So they were bottom of people's lists. And my phone's bleeping. Everybody's thrown off now. Guesses all over the show.
I jinxed everyone when I said Amanda would be psychic.
Yeah, well, I answered the wrong question, so I'm going to answer again. I had
Okay.
it wrong. You meant that they were the 1 point.
Yeah, they had 1 point. So they were a number 10, basically. They were the 10th choice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure oops isn't the answer.
Well, actually, yeah. Sorry. All right.
Okay, all right. We're waiting for yours because you're clearly the closest one so far.
I suspect it's a high answer.
Well, actually, Tom, the answer is 16. And that is really weird to me.
16?
16 films only got one point.
Oh.
So, and those films were. So I don't know if anybody. Well, I mean, look at and the one that hit me straight away was highest to lowest. It got no other votes on the list at all, apart from somebody put it in their 10th slot. Which is, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of that film. You didn't need to make that film. The original is brilliant enough.
So I don't know if it's just me, Dario, because there's so many there.
Yeah.
I can't really see them.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, can you read them?
Yeah, of course I can. Yeah. So, Anemone, Ronan Day-Lewis, Arco by Hugo Bienvenu, Bunny by Ben Jacobson, Chainsaw Man the movie by Tatsuya Yoshihara, Good One by India Donaldson. That's an interesting one because that had quite a good sets of reviews. Highest to Lowest by Spike Lee, Into the Dark, which is a short by Fiona Otway, Love and War, which is a documentary, I think, by Elizabeth Vasaheli, Nizia 2, which is an animation, I think. I haven't seen it. Night Stage, Marcio Reolon, Reedland by Sven Bresser, Singing Wings by Heman Khalidi, Splitsville, Michelangelo Corvino, The Memory Blocks by Andrew Cotting, The Wizard of the Kremlin by Olivier Assayas. That's a film I wanted to see and I never got around to. And then the essay film Zodiac Killer Project by Charlie Shackleton. Yeah. You voted for that, Krista? Did you want to say something on that?
Reedland was mine. Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Reedland, yeah.
Yeah, is that worth seeing for you?
Yeah, that's why I put it there.
Yeah.
I interviewed the director.
Yeah. Okay. So why is it worth seeing?
It's a very beautiful film, very well shot.
Okay.
Came from the Netherlands.
Fantastic. So yeah, all of those again, you'll be able to have a look at on the list. So final question, and then we'll get onto the countdown. How many films were broad consensus films? So this is taking us towards the list now. Films that were mentioned more than 10 times. So this is interesting. Big numbers again. So we do have at the moment, we have 25, 60. So we have somebody who's pretty close, and it's actually a lot smaller than than those numbers would suggest. So it is 13. So you can see like at the top.
Amanda again.
So no, I think Alex was closest there
yeah.
with 60.
Excuse me, Tom. that was
Alex,
me.
there we go.
Okay. Thank you.
Don't take the prize away.
Congrats.
So yeah, so as you can sort of see, and when I show you the numbers at the end, particularly for the top 25, you'll sort of see where all those votes kind of went. So that brings us to the top 10. Let's get on with that now. So I'll reveal them, and then we'll show a couple of people who'd voted for this film or these films as their first choices. And Sarah's going to give us a quick synopsis of each one in case you haven't seen it, because there's quite a few on here that I haven't seen as well, because they haven't been released yet. So number 10 on the list is No Other Choice by Park Chan-wook. So Sarah, do you want to tell us about this?
Sure. A middle-class husband and father is abruptly laid off, and treating the job market like a blood sport begins eliminating rival candidates with grim procedural logic. Park turns Donald Westlake's satirical premise into a sleek moral pressure cooker where corporate rationality and homicidal irrationality start to look uncomfortably adjacent.
Okay. So I don't think Celia, Doug, or Alexander are not here, I don't think. I don't know if... Has anybody seen this film?
Do you want to talk about it, Mel?
Sure. So for me, it took a little bit of time to find its groove, but once it did, oh my God, it's so good. It's I would definitely recommend it. It is probably in my top 20, if not my top 10.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's great. I think that's January that's coming out in the UK. Sorry, was there somebody else, Sarah?
Yeah, Luke says it's phenomenal. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Great. Thank you. That's fantastic. Yeah. So I'm a big. I like Park Chan-wook's films, so I will definitely be seeing it when it does arrive. Okay. Number 9. Anybody want to start guessing at some of these titles? It's too difficult, I guess, isn't it?
There are 191 options.
And 191 films. It's difficult. But you think of the big films. What people like. Okay. So number 9 is.
Oh, Alex guessed Marty Supreme. So.
Okay. Very different film to Marty Supreme is Nouvelle Vague, came 9th. Again, a film that I saw as a press screening, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really light, and it wasn't. I don't think it was taking itself, or Linklater wasn't taking the subject matter overly seriously, and there was a lot of sort of meta in jokes to the idea of sort of nostalgia and playing with somebody else's material and that kind of thing. So it was really. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Ian and Philip voted that as their top film. Anybody else seen that? Wants to say anything?
Tom, you said it was on your list. You sure you don't want to go?
Oh, I just meant it's on my list to see.
Oh, you know, list to see. Okay, right.
I did see it. It's on Netflix in the US.
Oh, right, already.
It's delightful. Yeah. It kind of snuck in there. Yeah, I thought it was delightful. And in terms of like inspiring, because I actually watched this before I saw Breathless. So I watched Breathless maybe a week after. Wow. And I mean, between that double feature was like, oh, I'm about to go make a movie by myself tomorrow. Like it was just super inspiring. I texted a few of my friends and I was like, hey, watch this. Yeah. I think it's not only, even if you're not a filmmaker, it's a fun ride, but especially if you're a filmmaker making micro budget, art projects, like I thought it was so fun.
It definitely has that energy of just forget all the rules and go out and do it. I mean, it's interesting though as well, because I think it plays to that, but it doesn't really. I mean, there's a little bit of the sort of context of the fact that obviously He was a Kaye critic, and they were all fated to make movies. So it's sort of a bit fabulous in that sense, I think. But yeah, that's a great question. Alex asks, would you recommend watching them in that order? What was it like coming to the actual film itself? Because I'd see, it's one of those key texts for teaching at university that you would show the film, you show Breathless to the students to say, this is what French New Wave looks like,
Yes, I'm also on an iPad, which is why it's kind of hard to chat. Sorry, Alex.
All right.
I absolutely would recommend it going that way. And this is like, I think what's so fun about Filmstack and my American ignorance is like, I don't have a cinematic education until this year, in terms of like, I mean, I watched a bunch of international films just because American cinema just stopped doing it for me. But yeah, as far as that, in those particular ones, it was almost like I appreciated Breathless more going into it, having Richard Linklater's a love of it, and understanding. And even though exactly how the movie's gonna play out from Nouveau Vague, it was still like, it just made me even more inspired to be like, okay, it like solidified the vision of Breathless. I actually wanted to ask you, sorry, in my HBO Max translation, it translated the inline as you make me want to puke, but it's supposed to be you disgust me, right?
Yeah.
That cannot be the last line of this. So someone needs to email HBO Max and tell them to get their translation under control. But I was like, that is, sorry, spoiler. But yeah, it said you make me want to puke. And I was like, that cannot be what the last. So I Googled the I was like, typed in and it was like, you disgust me. And I was like, that makes, okay.
That's
so
an AI translation, I bet.
Yeah. But yeah, I highly recommend watching it in that order. It was a really cool experience.
Is anyone else sort of seen the original or is a fan of the original and would like to watch it because of this, and see what he makes of it? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
So do you want to see this behind the scenes making of from Linklater, or are you bothered, Krista?
I skipped it in Cannes on purpose. So.
Okay.
So that's a no, I guess.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, again, you've got to take it for you've got to take it for what it is. It is it's light, and it is playing with all of the kind of mythology and it's sort of heuristic in that sense. It's sort of building on the things that are said about that film, whether they're true or not, and also about the French New Wave, as this sort of group of sort of experimental and iconoclasts who changed cinema at the time. Tom, sorry, were you going to go there?
And look, if it can introduce the average American film goer to
Godard and those guys.
Then it's a win.
Fantastic. Okay. Number 8, we have The Secret Agent.
Yeah.
So again, this is not a film that I've seen. Sarah, do you want to give us the outline?
Sure. Set against the tightening vice of late dictatorship Brazil, a man returns to Recife. Sorry, I'm going to get names wrong.
That's all right, don't worry.
Seeking calm, only to find history waiting with its receipts. The director stages political paranoia as neo-noir atmosphere, surveillance, half-hearted threats, and the sense that private life is a fragile fiction.
Okay.
Should have done vocal warm-ups for this. Sorry.
That's all right. So, Krista, this was on your list as your second favorite of the year. Do you want to tell us why you like this one so much?
It's funny because I'm not a major fan of the director, actually. I didn't like Bacurau super much. But then there was nothing to do in Cannes that day, and I was floored by the film. I mean, it's conventional in a way, but it's expertly made in every detail. It's so brilliant, and every image is fantastic.
Yeah.
I rewatched it since then. I forced my girlfriend to come with me, and after 10 minutes, she didn't feel forced anymore. So now I think it's absolutely fantastic. Really, everything, the scenography, There's a production design, the acting, the cinematography, absolutely everything. It's an expertly made film and extremely entertaining as well.
Very good. I haven't heard anything bad about this film. I think it's one of those as well. If this had been released in the UK earlier in the year, it might have been higher. Go ahead, Mel.
Is it released in the UK? Sorry.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not till the new year.
Sorry.
Christian, I think my husband had a similar feeling when I sat him down to watch this film, and we both walked away. You know, it has a significant running time. It's about 2.5 hours, and we both walked away feeling like that time flew. And it's just such a beautifully lived in film where you just, it's about the story, but about just being immersed in the experience of the characters. And some of the characters are just so, I mean, there's one character in particular who runs like the boarding house where the main character lives, and she's just so delightful. I'm actually working on my Critics Awards nominations for my local critics group, and she's going to be getting a supporting actor nomination for me. Yeah, I liked Bacurau, but it did not have the impact that this film did.
And it's also about cinema anyway. It's set in the director's hometown, and those cinemas that have been dying since then, that existed when the film was made, but they're not there anymore, which is alluded to towards the end of the film. That's not a spoiler.
Did anyone else get a chance to see pictures of ghosts? That was Philho's film specifically about theaters, actually, and I know it's on Criterion.
That documentary thing.
I'm sorry.
This documentary, right?
Yeah.
I missed that one. So
it's on Criterion channel. I just haven't had a chance to see it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now this sounds great. I can't wait to see it. Has anybody else seen The Secret Agent? Wants to come in? No. But yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anybody. It's one of those things, isn't it, where some films that are really high and everybody likes, but there's a sort of descent as well, you know, that you can sort of detect. And this one, I just haven't heard anybody say anything bad about it at all. It just seems fantastic. Okay, we are at number 7. So 7 on our countdown is Sirat, which is again a film. Unfortunately, I haven't seen. It's not out in the UK, so I haven't, and I never caught it at the film festivals. Does anybody have any? Oh, sorry, Sarah. Do you want to give us the outline?
That's okay. A father, his son, and a nomadic community of ravers move through the deserts of southern Morocco in search of a missing daughter. The director fuses road movies, spiritual trial, and techno trance into something that feels both mythic and brutally physical.
Okay.
It was on my list as well.
Oh, was it on yours as well? Yeah.
I think it was third or fourth.
Yeah, further down, maybe.
Yeah. Sure.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about this one, Krista. I don't think anybody else. None of us have seen it. Did you?
The less you talk about it, the better. That's a difficult one.
Okay.
It's a wild ride. Let's put it that. Some people in Cannes were seriously shocked by that one. I was surprised that it became so popular afterwards, because it's a hell of a ride.
Yeah. Is there a sort of genre? Could you put it in a genre for us or anything like that? You know,
it's set in the desert where there's a big rave going on. And they're looking, then a man comes there and he's looking for his lost daughter that he thinks is somewhere in this rave. And then things start spiraling from there, you know. But the less you disclose, the better.
Right, okay.
It's a boring answer, but...
No.
Really, yeah.
I think it's probably good if people want to see it, for sure.
But he's a very interesting director, I think, Oliver Lash. It's his 4th film, but all his 4 films are very different from each other. And this was a big surprise for me. But I mean, I expected something good, but I didn't expect what this film looked like at all.
Wow.
And it's always nice. How often are you surprised nowadays?
Yeah, it's unusual, isn't it?
Were there many people who had that one?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was on the, so what am I saying, 7th. So yeah, I'll, at the end, I've got the list of how many people actually voted for it. So it was first. It was only first on one person's list, but I think it was quite high. People who chose it had it quite high on their list, I think, across the board. Okay, so number 6, and then we'll have the raffle winner. Number 6 is
Oh God.
No, this is not. I have seen it.
I'll be quiet. No, no problem.
This is not a film I particularly liked either, I have to say, Christopher. But did anybody? Oh, sorry, Sarah. I keep forgetting to go to you. Tell us about Begonia for those who haven't seen it.
Begonia. Two conspiracy-soaked men abduct a pharmaceutical CEO, convinced she's an alien, then perpetrate an act of deranged truth-seeking that spirals into farce, cruelty, and uneasy self-recognition. Lanthimos amalgamates deadpan comedy and paranoia as a social style. The joke, as ever it seems, is on the human animal.
Okay, so anybody seen this and liked it? I want to say
I've seen it.
Yeah, but didn't like it. I thought. I mean, with Lanthimos, I just haven't liked his recent stuff very much at all. You know, I like The Lobster and some of the earlier works.
Did you see Save the Green Planet?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, that's
Is that good?
fantastic. I love that
Okay.
one.
Okay.
This is a remake of that one.
Right. Oh, I'll have to check that out. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
But I did watch Begonia, and I didn't personally like it, but visually it was stunning. My friend Ben rented his VistaVision camera to Begonia, so it looked beautiful. But I think what happened is with the larger budgets, it almost feels like Yorgos Lanthimos' missing scene. We're having the frame take its time to tell the story, like with Dogtooth and The Lobster. It felt like with less money, he had more focus on time and space and framing. And with the larger budgets, it became more of this kind of faster TikTok type editing, which is more conventional commercial cinema. So I'm wondering if that was his choice or kind of more the aesthetic the studio wanted. But personally, I also felt that if Begonia had been more in the style of his earlier cinema, I would have liked it more like the deadpan dialogue, the slower takes. That kind of lets you kind of sit in the world. But when you're constantly cutting, it changes the feel for me.
No, that's really interesting.
Because initially the Korean director was supposed to do the remake himself in English, but then he got ill, and then Lanthimos came in relatively late in this project.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Mel, you've just put a piece in the chat there. Have you seen this one as well?
I have.
Yeah, what did you make of it?
It's not my favorite Yorgos Lanthimos, but it I did. I mean, it kept me interested constantly, and I did post an essay that I read on Substack actually about putting it within the context of beauty standards for women and this sort of alienating effect from one's body that I did find to be a pretty interesting take on it.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll have a look at it. I mean, it's always I think with these big statement films, because there's a lot of them this year that are trying to make sense of, I don't know, the senselessness of the time, and often I think a lot of these films have been left without a resolution because there is no resolution to be had. And they're going off in lots of different directions, you know what I mean? Because that seems to be the kind of ennui of today, that we don't quite know what is affecting what, and there's so many different strands of discourse, if you want to call it that are affecting the world. But yeah, just from I thought it was okay. I like this better than the last one, which the name has temporarily gone out of my mind. The last one,
Kinds of Kindness.
Kinds of Kindness. Honestly, that was a troll movie. That for me, I didn't like that at all. Okay, let's move on. Oh, so Sarah, the raffle winner is next. They're not here, so we don't need to labor this too much.
Well, you've given all you've taken all the tension out of them.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? So thank you to everyone who's for the recording. Anyway, thank you to everyone who's donated a Substack for the year. How many have we got, Sarah? Roughly?
We have almost a dozen prize raffles, and Taylor kindly is one of the prize subscriptions. So if you win this raffle, you win free paid subscriptions for 1 year to almost a dozen major Filmstack Substacks, including Taylor's.
So the winner, which was in a very above board and democratic way, decided by Sarah and her family members in a ceremony.
No. We used a random generator.
That's what. Right, random generator to pick the name out of a hat.
I'll tell everyone the story later because I don't want to take up time. But Dario's not completely wrong. But we did use a random generator. So yes, just so everyone knows, we didn't have favorites.
We didn't want to do it using the technology because we thought if it screws it up, it's just going to be a nightmare. So anyway, the winner is Mike Sylvester. I don't know that person's Substack off the top of my head, but congratulations to Mike, and we'll be in touch very soon to sort out your prizes. Okay, so down to the last 5. Number 5. Anybody, any guesses about where we're heading now for the top films of the year?
I'm afraid we're heading towards Norway. No?
Maybe.
Is Marty Supreme your answer for everything, Alex?
Yeah, Marty Supreme again for everything. Okay, so number 5 on the list is Eddington. Again, so this was one that was very interesting because, again, this was the film that I said to Taylor earlier on. Nobody had voted for this as their number 1 film. It just had a lot of votes that were sort of mid to high. What to say? I mean, I'm sure many of you have seen this and can give your views. I'm not an Ari Aster fan, I have to say. I haven't completed one of his movies, and as I've gotten older, I've forgiven myself for turning films off or walking out if I just hate it, and I haven't completed one of his films. But I managed to get through this one, and I thought there were some interesting elements to it. I thought it was quite baggy and sort of going off in different directions, but an interesting sort of take on the COVID period, and obviously, a lot of the sort of American cultural, I don't know, tensions, antagonisms, issues that are going on right now over there for you guys. I don't know. Anybody else want to chime in on Eddington?
Full disclosure, I have seen none of the movies on this list. Fun fact. Luke is saying, though, relatedly, John Waters picked Eddington as his favorite of 2025. Thank you, Luke. That is an interesting fact.
Yeah,
and Tom said, I'm glad I'm not the only one who walks out of movies.
Yeah, life's too short now when you get into when you get to my age. But go ahead, Aaron. You want to say about Eddington?
I did see it in the cinema, and it was not on my top 10, but there were walkouts in the movie, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Was it a full theater? Did a lot of people leave, or was it 5 people and 2 very obviously left?
Me and my friend and 5 other people left, and then 3 or 4 people walked out. By the end, it was just me and my friend and one other person. And I wanted to walk out of his previous film, the what is it called? Boo Was Afraid. I hated that film. But this one, I stuck through the end. I was just I'm not getting these $18 back,
Taylor, go ahead.
I just have a quick note, not about this film, but the movies that were consistently, as you said, this movie had it was no one's top film, but it had it was on a lot of lists. And I just want to do a little case study of how these films were marketed, because I feel that probably had a lot to do with almost just the saturation and exposure was those with the highest percentage were marketed, just out of curiosity.
I get the feeling that Eddington maybe was sort of right in the middle of other big movies that were being talked about more at the time in the summer. Maybe again, it's not a film that people wanted to talk about when there were other things that were out there, because it is quite, it's hard work, I think. I mean, Krista, did you see this at a festival or?
Yes, I shocked myself by staying the whole time. It was in Cannes, and the Ari Aster fans were pretty quiet afterwards. Many of them that I talked to, they were not so keen.
They're not so keen, yeah.
No, I didn't care for it at all. But I'm with you when it comes to Ari Aster. But I've been less lucky. I've seen the entire of all 4 films.
Right.
Even the long version of Midsommar. Yeah,
Well, the-
it was at Cannes and got pretty low scores overall, as I recall.
yeah.
And the
They seem
screen, sorry.
No, I was just going to say he seems to be a director that has a very concentrated, following of, fans who like his stuff and keep him in the conversation in that sense. But again, you can't argue with the data that we've got. So number 5 on the list. Okay, number 4. Again, an
Luke
interesting
said
one.
Eddington. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Luke
Did somebody
said-
else want to come in?
Yeah, Luke said Eddington felt extremely American, and I'm so curious if Luke is now American or not. But conversation for another time. Sorry.
Yeah.
I felt the
Right.
same when you not. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so number 4 is Sorry Baby. So this is Ava Victor's. So, I mean, again, this is probably I don't know, the ones that have got really high, the smallest film, but I think a lot of people have really resonated with this. I really enjoyed it. It was really interesting for me because I saw this very close with After the Hunt. And and it was really, they're essentially kind of about the same thing, but I've just found this a lot more personal and a lot more interesting, and a lot less heavy-handed than After the Hunt. Had a couple of firsts on this. I don't know if anybody else in this.
Sorry,
Oh, you can go. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, Chris.
Go ahead, Krista. Yeah, go
I
on.
can just say I saw it only 2-3 days ago after I compiled the list,
Right.
but it wouldn't have made the list anyway.
No,
Yeah.
not for you.
Pretty far from. It was okay, but pretty far from being on the top list. Yeah.
Okay.
It was better than I thought. Sorry.
I saw this one too, and I think I had heard for a few months how remarkable Eva Victor's voice was. Like, oh, she's just such an exciting new voice. And so I had incredibly high expectations and was excited to see it. And I think that the disappointment I felt after finishing it of being like, what? Like, that was people's like top. And I think I was just went in with too high of expectations, because after like the couple days of being like, I don't get it. Like, why was everyone so excited about this film? This, like, her as a new voice. I realized, like, just talking out with a couple of people on Substack, it was incredibly human and incredibly, like, vulnerable, especially because it is based on something that actually happened to her, that I think I was just, for lack of a better word, might have been just being a pretentious snob when I was, like, expecting it to be this, like, cinematic wonder. And, like, I just didn't get that at all. That I was just like, oh, for what it as a piece of pure cinematic humanity, really, I liked it a lot. Like, the part where she, like, smashes the mouse and then goes run over the to me in a way that I was just like, man, that captures this feeling of, like, violence and also, like, aliveness. I don't know. I thought it was a very special moment in movies, but yeah, I'm excited to see her next film, but yeah, I would not have picked her in my top 10 had I made a list.
Mel?
I just wanted to say that as I get older, one of the things that I've found is that I like going in cold as much as humanly possible, because especially, social is all about building hype. And so I it's hard. I will definitely do trailers, but with Sorry Baby, I went in almost completely cold, just knowing that it had gotten some good reviews. And I also saw it fairly recently and I was just blown away. For that humanity, for that vulnerability, and for the ease and elegance with which it tells this very painful human story. It's just it's straightforward in a way that works for the story. I don't know. It was in my top 10.
No, it was in mine as well. I really, really liked it. And I think There was lots of reasons. I mean, I like films that are set on campuses anyway, because I like when there's something about projection of taking the piss out of academics that I quite enjoy watching. And then I liked the fact that it didn't announce its time jumps. So then as you were watching it, there were moments when you realized that you were in a different time. And because you've been given that information and the character hadn't, you knew that had impacted what happened before. It impacted her in a way that she didn't know. So it was a really interesting sort of sense of what you were getting as opposed to what the character was actually feeling at the time, which I thought was really interesting. And then the other thing about the humanity that both of you were talking about there was that sort of sense that everything that happened in her life after that in some way had shaded, her experiences, whether it's being in the courthouse where everybody knows, all of those other jurors knew what she was talking about, but she was trying not to talk about it. And it was a really interesting question as well, is can you be unbiased in that situation, if you've suffered that same crime, and I thought that was really interesting. But and like, for example, later on when it turns out that the colleague had sex with the guy as well, and almost to spite her, the one that didn't like her. And it was just kind of that sense of, these people, everybody's got that person who's their nemesis and out to get them kind of thing. And I just thought that was really interesting. Sorry, Mel, go ahead.
No, that's okay. You reminded me of something, and that is that it stunts her. She is unable to grow into an adult role from this experience. And it's like, it doesn't even occur to her. And there's something that feels very true about not recognizing how your past informs whether you can or can't can't evolve and grow. And so, I liked it. Anyway.
Right. Anyone else before we move on? Okay. So number 3 on the list is sentimental value. Now, Krista and I have already fallen out over this film anyway, so only joking. No, I love this movie. I only saw it the other day, and I just thought it was brilliant. Yeah, go ahead, Krista.
No, I can just say I also make a disapproval list at the end of the year with the films I like the least.
Right.
And that one is going to score very high on that one.
Wow. It's so interesting, isn't it? How people react.
Actually, it was it's a Norwegian film. It was in one of the biggest Norwegian magazines. There was a reporter, a very famous critic, writing, "It's shameful that Joachim Trier is Norway's voice in the world."
Wow.
So it was a bit. So there were some dissenting voices even in Norway.
Right. Yeah,
most people loved it, of course. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Anyone else wants to jump in on this one? If people have seen it, I don't know if has no one else seen this one yet. No, Mel, go on. You go. You go again, Mel. I'll come in as well. I'll follow up on you.
I've been watching a lot of movies. I'll just say that. And this is one that I saw within the past week. I liked it very much. It did not make my top 10. I think the strength of the performances, especially the lead performance, was what really captured me. I have been a little confused at the level of praise for it. Not that I'm saying that it's not a good film, it is, but just for me, it wasn't one of the best.
Yeah, it's interesting because it is obviously it's resonated with a lot of people, and I really, really liked it. The show that we recorded for our top 10, I'd watched it literally the day after, and it would have gotten on to my top 10 if I'd have recorded in time. And I'm trying to think, what elements of it. I need to go see it again. That's one thing. I think that the lead actor, in fact, the two sisters are really fantastic. They're really, really, really good. I think what was really interesting that the Elle Fanning I found quite wooden, but I think that to me that was on purpose because she's auditioning for a role that she's not good for. And I think it's interesting about the cinema. I think it made me laugh, some of the in-jokes about the film industry right now and Netflix and stuff and this kind of thing. I do. Krista's already, we've already sort of talked about that idea of the Bergman kind of references, and I know you find them heavy-handed. I think, I mean, again, I saw them, but it's a case of did it annoy me that they were there? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that the director, who's the father of these two sisters, and again, it's a story about, it's a father-daughter story, and there's quite a lot of them around at the moment. Look at Jay Kelly, for example, which is a film I really didn't like at all. But again, yeah, I think before I want to sit down and write something about this film, but I need to see it again because it did sort of resonate for me quite highly. There's another film called Tout va bien from back in the day, which is about a father-daughter relationship, which is really interesting, and it sort of reminded me a little bit of that. But yeah, this was very, very popular. There's people who'd had this really, really high up. So again, and I mean, go ahead, Krista. Yeah.
No, I can just add what I said to you.
Yeah.
In Cannes, when I heard people crying around me, I knew,
this is
not going my way.
out of interest, what is it? Just because you because you understand the first language, and the fact that it was sort of there were heavy references in there to Bergman and stuff like that, or was there? Do you think it was?
I guess I wrote to you, right, that understanding the dialogue didn't help.
Yeah.
And that's true about Bergman films also, by the way, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But
maybe there's
I
something.
didn't like anything. Also, the meta aspects, I think, was really clumsy as well.
Right.
The attempts at surprises. When is it a film? No, I thought it was no.
Interesting. Yeah.
But
really
I never liked the director very much. Okay.
Yeah. No. You see, I like the director. I think. I mean, I wasn't a great fan of Worst Person in the World, but I liked Reprise, and I liked some of his other stuff. His earlier stuff.
His earlier stuff.
Yeah.
Did you both see it in the cinema, by the way?
Yeah. 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 And I'll go back again, but I'll use my cult card to go and see it. In a sense. Yeah. And Mel says Reprise is a must. It's Reprise is fantastic if you haven't seen that of his. Okay. 2 more to go. So number 2, again, we get onto the heavy hitters now. Any guesses for number 2? Think of what everybody's loved this year.
PTA.
Maybe. Okay. Number 2 is
Marty Supreme. Good Lord.
okay. So we have 3 people have that as their number 1. It wasn't my number. I liked elements of this film, but I thought it was. I mean, especially the second half sort of descended into From Dusk Till Dawn, and a lot of people have said that, obviously. But that dance sequence in the middle, I think, is really impressive. And there's other elements of it I really enjoyed. Anybody want to come in on Sinners?
I've seen it twice now.
Okay.
Parts of it 3 times. So I saw in the back and forth of about this meetup that you had mentioned something about your favorite theatrical experience of 2025. And mine was seeing this in 70 millimeter at the Coolidge Corner Theater in Boston, where I'm from originally. So, I mean, it's a gorgeous film, first off. The soundtrack is amazing. But what really after the second time, what really drove home was the sense of a culture that has been exploited and robbed. And so, from the people that sell them the juke joint to the soliloquy about Irish Catholicism and wanting to have it be this one collective, and then you put on top of that some truly exceptional performances. Michael B. Jordan, is it Wunmi Mosadku, who plays Annie, who I'm really hoping it's her year Oscar-wise. It just, I'm a genre fan, so obviously a really well-made vampire movie is gonna hit with me, but that this was so much more, that this was truly epic, and that I think that Ryan Coogler pulled it off.
Fantastic. Yeah, it sounds it's so wonderful, isn't it? When you just the experience matches the film in a way. Yeah, it's so great when that happens. Anybody else seen Sinners and wants to come in on that?
Tom,
No?
did you want to say something? No? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think it is that was one of the films I think that came out at a similar time to Eddington and Superman, and there's various others at that time of year, and I think a lot of people were talking about it. But then, when other films came out later on in the year, it sort of faded back into the background. And I don't know if people remember on Substack, it was a big thing on Substack as well. There were so many people writing about it, and yeah, I wonder whether this film, when we look back, will stand the test of time.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was going to say. There was, just my personal perspective. There was so much hype. It was like, you have to see this movie. It's like the movie, of the year, of the decade. It always turns me off. And same with Superman. I mean, a lot of my son's friends really liked it, and I don't know. I don't like to be told what I'm gonna like.
No, I agree with that, and I'm not even going to start on Superman because I'll just go off on a right tangent. Anyway, yeah. So Sinners, obviously very popular, and that brings us to the number one, which probably many of you can guess. So I won't beat about the bush. Number one film was Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another. So this was by far and away the most popular film. So it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people voting it first, and we have two of them here. So we have Aaron and Mel who had it number one. So go ahead, Aaron. You kick off.
So I actually worked on One Battle After Another, and I have a funny short story about that. So I set up a profile in a casting agency to get commercial work here and there, and I got a text saying, "Do you want to work on the Paul Thomas Anderson film?" I thought it was spam. I responded, and a few weeks later, the drive to the set felt like a movie because I had to drive at 1 a.m. from San Diego to the north of LA to arrive to this kind of Hollywood detention center. And when I showed up, I was so excited. There's thousands of people there, and they put me in as a detained immigrant, dirtied me up and everything. I get on set, they do a few takes, and then when I get close to the fence, PTA walked by, he waves me over, and he said, "You're depressed. You don't know when you're gonna get out of here, and it's not looking good for you." And I said, "Perfect, existential crisis." He said, "That's it." He smiled, and then the next take, he came over, and the camera was on me. And it was such a thrill seeing him walk the set, seeing him set up the shots, talk to his crew. He was like walking like he was golfing. He was just so relaxed, so calm. And it was like 14 hours on this one shot. And it felt that way for the film. So when I saw the film later in IMAX, it really felt like he took the time with every frame more than any other film I saw. And since I personally experienced the set and him spending 14 hours on one shot, I thought if he did this for every frame, it shows in the end result. It felt like a really intentional film despite it being a giant production.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, that's a great story as well. It's it would have been lovely if you'd have been like a freeze frame in the middle of the movie and said, "Jesus, I know that guy." Mel, go ahead. Do you want to add to that?
Sure. So Paul Thomas Anderson's one of my favorites. He's probably the only filmmaker right now that I will make a point when I can of going for show first day to see his films. I remember seeing Boogie Nights in a press screening, and at the end of it, I just wanted to jump up and go, yes. And I have loved all of Paul Thomas Anderson's films, but this is the first film since that gave me that feeling when I was done of just such a cinematic accomplishment. I mean, much has been made of the chase scenes for good reason. I actually watched this for the second time last night, and on a much smaller screen than when I saw it the first time. So when I came out of it, I felt like Eddington was an iPhone snapshot of America, and One Battle After Another was a landscape painting. It really it touched on so much of what is inherently broken about American society, but also about what continues to be a source of hope, and that the forces for good are always going to, you know, recharge and renew. And yeah, and just not a wasted frame. Best Sean Penn performance that has been around in years. I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, perfectly cast. Yeah, I just I could keep going, but I'll stop there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm similar on Paul Thomas Anderson in the sense that I mean, my favorite film of his is still Magnolia. And that's on at the Prince Charles Cinema. Anyone who's in, Alex is in London. Alex, we should go and see Magnolia at Prince Charles because it's showing in 35 mil in January.
I'd love to.
But yeah, it'd be great. This film was the one that, I mean, I went to see it in IMAX in Waterloo in London, which is the biggest screen in the UK. And just sort of coming out of it, that sort of disorientated feeling that you were saying before, when you've enjoyed the experience of seeing a film as much as what was on screen, but clearly those things are intertwined. And anybody who's knows my Substack, I wrote a massive piece on it. So I went back to see it in a normal cinema, and then I went to see it on VistaVision with a friend of mine. So I've seen it 3 times already, and I think it was the most. I think that you can. I'm of the sort of no film is perfect and no film is terrible. You know, you can pick something out of most things, but no film is just like absolutely perfect. But this was the most complete film that I'd seen, I think, in American film anyway, that I'd seen in 2025. Where I thought, as you said there, Mel, that, and Aaron said as well, that everything in the frame was, you know, and everything about the story was meant to be that, even though it was so chaotic and so sprawling. And there was and it just made me laugh so much as well. It's like it's a comedy action film at the end of the day, you know, and it's still saying something about what's going on in America, particularly around immigration and all those things, and just wonderful entertainment. But again, now even One Battle After Another has its kind of criticisms, and I can see those criticisms. A lot of them were written about certain aspects of the representation and what have you. But yeah, I loved it. It was my number one as well of the year. Anyone else want to come in and say anything about One Battle After Another? Is this a shoo-in for all the awards, do people think? Do we care whether it is or not? Aaron, go ahead.
Another cool thing about the film, so I befriended one of the producers of the film, and he mentioned that PT's approach is kind of like a true indie filmmaker, that most of the script was like handwritten and on a Pages app, and the day of they were making changes, and he was kind of like following his own path. So despite on set there was thousands of people and giant production and all that, the core of it was him kind of still figuring out the way I'm sure he does his other films. And it was stressful for the production, but more free flow. And it felt like that for me. Like on set, it felt like the core people were just like 5 people kind of managing the shots and the framing. And then the rest was chaos. But the most important, driver of the bus was really driving the bus. And you feel that throughout the film. And even at the end result, seeing it in IMAX, it was great feeling like a director was made. It was made by a giant team, but it was led by one person, which it really felt that way.
Yeah. And go ahead, Taylor.
I just have a quick question. I haven't seen the film yet. I do love PTA. Like Phantom Thread is one of my favorite films, but I didn't notice. Like I haven't seen an image from the film that was like, holy moly, I cannot wait to see this film, right? And you and almost all of you said that no frame was wasted. And so I'm just interested, like, am I just missing something in the, like, none of this still spoke to me. Like, I know that whole road thing people keep be like, oh man, what an experience, you had to be there. Like that you had to see move. But like the other shots, I was just like, yeah, I don't at first, like I was like, I don't get why everyone's so excited about this film. Like it didn't look breathtaking or like in a if that makes sense. And maybe I'm just missing or haven't seen enough stills. But did you notice that there was a translation between how you felt watching it in theaters and it being like no frame wasted, and then the stills you saw afterwards? I didn't find them compelling.
I don't think it's about the stills. I think it's the kineticism. I think it's the movie. It doesn't matter. I mean, like there's certain filmmakers. I mean, you know, I watched Correada, a couple of films of his, and his every single frame you could stop and put it on your wall. This is not like that. It's inherent to the movement is absolutely vital. And it like that. The central section is just incredible. The way it follows through different spaces. And he's moving up and down and around the sides, and then I mean, the choreography of it is just absolutely incredible. Like and even the car chase scene at the end. Yeah, if you froze, like it just looks like a desert road. And there's millions of films that, you know, 2-lane blacktop or Jewel. You know, there's loads of films that have that sort of desert look. But it's just the way that the movement goes up and down and side to side that just there's something about that the way that was put together in the camera movement and then the edit that just worked in an absolutely spectacular way. And even at the beginning as well, there's a lot of images I think that aren't necessarily revolutionary, but like for example that they go and the French 75 at the beginning go rob a bank, and it's very much taken from, I think, Heat. You know, the bank robbery in Heat. There's sort of very similar kind of visual cues there, I thought, but I don't know. That's why I say it's complete. You know what I mean? It's like not one thing you take out, you say, oh, that defines the movie. No, it's the whole thing just works somehow in that sense, audio visually, I think.
Well, and also PTA, it's funny, I love Phantom Thread as well, but that is probably the one film of his that I can think of that does have those really arresting still images. And with the others, it's about that momentum. So yeah, it's really, it's kind of hard to describe the experience.
No, and I'm definitely excited to see it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it was just like at first when it first came out and people were stoked about it, I was like, I'm not getting what the hype is. But that's even better that it's literally cinema. Like it has to be moving. It's a motion picture.
Yeah, it's really funny as well, but also like in the middle section with DiCaprio is just. He's so good at being the you know, the sort of the dude, you know, sort of doing a shtick on that. And there's just one bit that goes all the way through. And he's, I mean, this was one of the things that I just disagree with. And people have said, oh, it's just another white man hero movie. There's nothing he does in this movie that actually has any consequence at all. It's all of the other characters that make things happen, right? But yeah, at the very end, DiCaprio is good enough as an actor to be able to sort of bring everything right back down and be really minimalist. At the last sequence with the daughter just becomes really kind of intimate and in motion when the whole movie has just been this absolute madcap, you know, crazy event, you know? Yeah, it's just a fantastic performance as well, I thought. Anyone else? Aaron, go ahead.
Hey, Daria, can I ask, like, everybody here, what was their favorite theatrical experience of the year?
Oh, anybody?
Yes.
Any
I
answers
love that
for that?
question.
Yeah, it's great.
So-
Krista, go ahead.
Yeah, it's something that you, Dario, actually made a podcast about. It's the
Oh, right.
Wojciech Haas retrospective.
Oh, right,
I
yeah.
played in London for 1 month, and I spent lots of time in Poland, in Warsaw. It's a Polish director who died in the early 90s. It's one of the greatest directors of all time. I understand you responded pretty well to the films as well.
Oh, yeah, no, I loved them. I hadn't really seen many of them.
And
but,
they've been, and all of these films have been screened because it's a centenary of his birth. So all of his films were screened in different cities in Poland, and that's seeing them all together and his complete mastercraft, his control of the craftsmanship in every aspect, blocking, colors, everything was mind-blowing. And that's my major experience of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen the Hourglass Sanatorium, just go and watch that right now. That's the first one I'd start with.
That
You're like,
one,
wow,
not the K Brothers one.
No. Yeah.
So,
Um,
okay. Now that's my
any-
answer. Sorry.
Great. Anyone else? Mel, you said already you liked Sinners was your number one. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, just the 70mm experience, and that is probably the biggest or second biggest screen in Boston, and it's a true silver screen. So it's this beautiful classic movie house that I actually worked in for 2 years, and just it was peak presentation.
Yeah. Anyone else? That's great.
I got to see the 400 blows and 35 shots for the first time. American Cinematheque put on in LA and Santa Monica at this like small indie art house theater called The Arrow. And it was really cool. They were both sold out showings. And it was cool to be reminded of. I didn't see a lot of 2025 films, as you know, by my lack of submission, but like it was cool to be reminded how excited people are for theatrical experience. Like there were kids there in 400 blows seeing it with their parents, and like it was just a really cool vibe. I thoroughly enjoyed both those movies. Learned a lot.
Did you say the Claire Denis was sold out as well?
It was, and
35
I
was sold out
actually
as well.
yes, both
Okay.
of them were sold out. Yeah. I actually saw the Claire Denis one. Ted Hope invited me, and it was funny. His reaction was like, "Huh, that's not what I thought it was gonna be." I was like, "Well, I loved it. Like, I did. Yeah, I heard the horse visual was really powerful for me when he's riding on the horse with his daughter. Yeah, like she's one of my favorite filmmakers. Beau Travaux is my favorite movie of all time. I think.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, sure. Both other, yeah. Aaron.
Aaron?
I would say mine, January of this year, like a few weeks after David Lynch passed away, at the Egyptian at the American Cinematheque, they had a special screening where they showed his early experimental short films and then Eraserhead. And it was a sold out crowd, and you felt all this love for David Lynch and his cinema. And they showed a montage of the times he went to the Cinematheque and talked about his films before the film. And everybody was so quiet and focused. And when Eraserhead finished, everybody got up and cheered and applauded and celebrated. There was like so much energy that I haven't felt before in a cinema. So that was like probably one of my all time favorite cinematic experiences.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's
Can I-
great.
If, can I add one thing?
Go on, go for it.
If no one else is going, can I talk about my number one? Or
Yeah, of course. What was it? Go on.
I was sure I would be alone. That would be one of the things that only got one vote, but it seems other people. It's Reflection in a Dead Diamond by Hélène Caté and Bruno Fassani. The ones who, there was a Belgian couple who made Let the Corpses Tan a few years ago. Very weird, violent movies. And I was shocked at how few people have seen this one.
Yeah.
Because it was at Berlinale, but then it seems it went on Shudder and it only was only shown on VOD and stuff. But it's an absolutely fantastic, extremely entertaining. It's a spy thriller, but it's based on like the old spy thrillers like Diabolique, and the stylistics come from there as well. And I've seen it 4 times in the cinema, and I've been blown away every time.
Wow.
It's absolutely.
Oh, that'll go on my list.
Reflection
Tom?
in a Dead Diamond. Yeah.
Reflection in the Dead Diamond. Fantastic. Tom?
Yeah, I guess I kind of have the same feeling as you, Aaron, but going back even further, having seen Eraserhead at the Uptown Cinema in Minneapolis with my uncle shortly after it came out, and My Dinner with Andre and this film Montenegro. I don't know if anybody saw it, but
Macadea
yeah, Montenegro. Yes,
was made in Sweden. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I just thought it was a beautiful film, and so far out of my lived experience, and films like The Deer Hunter, and in particular Rocky, it was the only time that I was in the theater that at the end of the theater, at the end of the film, everyone stood up simultaneously and just started cheering. And I don't feel that a lot in cinematic experiences. I shy away from them a lot just because sometimes there's a weird vibe going on, especially in these Cineplex kind of movies. And really looking to get forward to getting back to something like that, where it's the experience of seeing the movie with other people that some people talked about, and that being exciting.
Yeah, it's interesting. That actually, I'm thinking about that a lot, because I'm gonna, the focus of my Substack is going to be move more towards what the watching experience, and I'm going to write a book about it at the end. So I'm going to use the Substack, I think, as a sort of primer to get to the point where I can submit a book, because I think it's just if you look, and there's been articles that have come out about this, that people are looking to get back to the cinema, but they need a reason to go, and obviously lots of people have written about this on Substack as well in different ways. So there's a wealth of resource there. Just on mine, I mean, my favorite one basically was Paul Thomas Anderson in IMAX. But just before Christmas, I think it was about the 17th, 18th, I went to see Eyes Wide Shut in 35mm. Just around the corner, we've got a place called the Screen on the Green, which is like an old school cinema with like old sort of seat. They're not the new bucket seats, but they're old style big bucket seats. And then there's sort of tables in between and sort of candelabras and stuff like that. So it's a really nice, quaint little cinema with a bar at the back, and they announce every single film and everything like that. So they try to make it an experience and what have you. But it was clear that not everybody in that auditorium knew what they were in for with Eyes Wide Shut. And there was a couple of rows behind. I was on my own, right? So, okay, that might have been weird anyway, just going to see Eyes Wide Shut on your own. But we'll leave that to one side. But there was a couple of rows back beside me. And another couple sort of a little bit further down who were laughing inappropriately all the way through. They were laughing in a way in the sense, what the fuck is this? And this couple got up after the kind of lights went up. And she said to him, what the fuck are you doing taking me to something like that?
Oh, no.
And I was just like thinking, that is going to be an interesting conversation on the way home. I wish I could record it. But clearly, I'm sure that it wasn't a full cinema by any means, but I'm sure that people had gone to that and thought, oh, this is a Tom Cruise movie. You know what I mean? And thought, it must be all right. And then just was like, Jesus, what is this? So that was as entertaining as seeing Eyes Wide Shut on 35mm, which was fantastic, I have to say. Okay, so anybody want to say anything else about their cinematic experiences? Anything that they've seen at the cinema, and just going to the cinema was a thing, or is that everybody who will give?
I'd just like to add, you brought it up, Dario, but like my top cinematic experiences have all been in cinemas where people have been vocal, and it's sort of been rare that the actual film has been the thing the film has contributed to it, but it is more the connection with the people, with this, like, having seen something and experienced something and felt a connection with the other with the people who I've gone to see it. I saw Blue Moon. That was the first time that I've ever been to the London Film Festival, and to watch something in a cinema with like the Royal Festival Hall, it felt like there were thousands of people in a room watching a film. That's an experience I've never had in my entire life, and it sent shivers down my spine. And I think it was because of witnessing it with that with the sort of sheer amount of people feeling whatever, like different things, but still feeling things at the same time. It's such a powerful experience, which it's like it's an awe-inspiring thing. So it's all. And the other one that I think I said was sort of slightly different, where there were 3 people watching House of Dynamite with me, but still it felt like the room was electric, even though there were only 3 of us. So I'm really interested to and glad that that's sort of something which you're going to be looking at more, because I think there's something so magic in that, and I'm looking forward to seeing more and more in sort of crowded and populated cinemas. You know,
I think we've forgotten a little bit about it, haven't we? But with streaming being so default now as the way that we watch movies. So we've got a few hands up here. So Taylor first, and then Amanda afterwards. Go ahead, Taylor.
I'll be quick because I've already gone. But to Alex's point and to y'all's point about it being like about the people and not necessarily the film. When I was watching the 400 Blows, there was a family behind me, and the kids were probably like 10 and 13, like around that age. It was two boys. And the parent, before the film started, were talking about like theatrical experience. They're like, hey, do you remember when we saw that movie a couple weeks ago? Like it genuinely could have been a Substack article the way this dad was talking, but he was like, how did it make you feel? You know, like, and they were talking about the theatrical experience of they had literally just seen the Minecraft movie like 2 weeks before. And the dad was like, and no, the kid who probably was like 13 or 14 was like, you know, when I heard other people laughing, it validated my laugh. And I was like, yes. And so not even like a few minutes later, this movie abruptly started. That I think a lot of us, in my understanding, that was the first time we had seen it. And so when it started, we were like, wait, is this the movie? Because it was in black and white. It's this little girl who looks distressed and like, you know, impoverished, walking on this dirt road towards the screen. And she just has this like blank stare. And everyone was like, you know, did the movie start? Like, what is happening? Is this like, you know, everyone was really quiet in an uncomfortable kind of way. And then after it went on for like a really long time, it said America Cinematheque presents Bleak Week. And it was just like all these like bleak films, and the entire theater laughed because we were all like, what is happening? And I just thought that was such a brilliant, like I couldn't have asked. I think that was my first theatrical experience in a very long time. And I was like, dude, I could not have asked for a better one. Not only was this dad talking to his son about like the importance of shared experience, but then we got to like experience something together almost immediately after to be like, what is going on? Like,
Wow.
So yeah, I'm all for you researching more, diving deeper into the importance of theatrical.
Great. Thank you. And thanks for that. That was brilliant. Amanda.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Minecraft movie because that's what I was going to talk about. Because most of my like cinema experiences, especially in the last few years, it's like I'll be able to go see the movies I want to see in the theater when my kids are at school. So it'll be like I'll be there at 10 a.m. and I'm usually like the only person in the theater. Like I watched Anora and it was like I was the only one in there, and I walk out at like 10 a.m. after seeing it. Like, is this weird that I'm the only one here seeing this at 10 a.m.? But it's really you enjoy the film and it's really great because it's big, but you still miss on that community experience. So the most fun I had was when I took my kids to see Minecraft because, you know, it was a full theater. There was tons of kids and everyone was just laughing out loud, you know, like it made it funnier, way more funny for us because my husband didn't understand, you know, the Minecraft part of it. But just seeing all these kids having so much fun, like really made it such a great experience. And, you know, especially like for comedies, I think, you know, big audience is important because they do make it funnier. Like when you hear other people laughing and reacting, it's just funnier. Like, I don't know, every comedy I've ever seen in the theater is funnier in the theater than it is at home usually. So
great. That's really interesting actually, because one of the chapters in this book that I've got in my head is how do you introduce your children to the theatrical experience? And I haven't got any children, so I'm going to have to interview people about it. So we'll have to chat about that. For sure.
Oh, absolutely. We take them like as much as we can. And like we have a Saturday movie night here. Like they've watched all the old movies. So yeah.
Because it's amazing how many parents who do love cinema and love movies, they have a very specific way that they want to introduce their kids to cinema, you know, and make them remember the first time and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah, you can't be too precious about it, but
yeah. Aaron and then Sarah.
So just to go off what Dario said about Eyes Wide Shut. So when I saw Matthew Barney's Cremaster 3 at the American Cinematheque, there was like 70% walkouts, and at intermission, there was a couple in front of me that were arguing, and And the woman told the husband, she's like, "What the fuck is this? What the hell's going on?" Like, this is said, "What? You're taking me this? This is what you want to do on a Friday night?" And they were arguing, and they left. And by the end of the movie, it was like 70% of the audience was gone. But it's an incredible film. It's like 3 hours. There's no dialogue, and he only shows his films at museums and cinematheques. You can't buy the movie. You can't stream it. It's a fascinating film. But I thought it was comical, the walkouts and also the confrontations that started happening with people who are not, used to this kind of abstract avant-garde experimentalism. It was great.
Well, and plus
Great.
Matthew Barney is in your face. So that's his
Yeah.
approach. Yeah.
For sure. Okay, Sarah.
Aaron, can you drop the name of that in the chat? Sorry, I just so that I have it for later. The movie, the guy who like only does who you can't see anywhere else. Did I miss? Anyway,
Yeah,
The Crewmaster Cycle.
yeah, thank you.
yeah, he's put
thank
it in
you.
the chat for you.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I think it's so funny because to everyone's point, it's weird because with theater usually, like, the more packed the house, like on stage theater, the more packed the house is, the energy you get, like the actors feed off the energy because you're there, you're in the room, but it's funny because my best cinema experience, my best theater experience for movies this year was Freakier Friday, and it was just literally the two of us in an empty theater, and it was amazing and perfect, and like we were our own energy. Which was kind of great. But I do think that's, the outlier, the moments that we all share. Like, I think kind of it boils down to, like, I don't know if it was COVID or what. I kind of think it's COVID, but I think we all sort of forgot how to be in community with each other. Like, we've all sort of left these common spaces. And I know Taylor talks about this a lot. Like, what is it? Third space cinema, third. Yeah, cool. Third space cinema, and but third spaces in general, like I've had this conversation with so many people for the last 6 or 7 years or whatever about how, there's such a breakdown of community, there's such a breakdown of whatever, and people forget how to be in conversation with each other. And I think there's something so magical when you go into a space and have a shared experience that is based around whatever. And like, it was like what Alex was saying earlier about House of Dynamite, where it's like, you feel like you went through something with these people that you're never going to see again, but it's a shared, it's burned in your brain in a way that doesn't happen in any other way. And I think there's something so magical about that. And I think that's what you're going to find with your book, Dario, is that like, that's what people are craving. People are craving connection. People are craving community. People are craving, the ability to be humans again together. And the movies that give us those opportunities, and Mel says she's working on a third space cinema project for 2026. If anyone is interested in talking more about that concept, yes. Sorry, I saw you get really excited about that, so I was wondering what you said. But yeah, I mean, I think those are the moments that, like, where we remember our humanity, and like I could talk for hours about those moments, but I won't, because I won't bore you. But I think that's sort of what everyone has already said or is saying, and I think it's so sad that we're like sort of lost. We sort of lost that, and I think once we find that again, the world will be a healthier place. That took a weird turn. Okay, anyway.
No, that was a very nice sentiment, I thought. Taylor, did you want to come in on that?
I know we're like way over time, so I'll be really quick. Mel, I would love to talk to you. I'm developing, like, it's called The Circuit, which is a global microcinema chain, basically, and helping microcinemas like marketing and towards the end of next year having like a global simultaneous screening. Anyway, that's not what I was going to say. Dario, now that I know you have a book coming out about theatrical experience, want to give you
Don't go that far. I haven't even started writing it yet.
No, you have. It's already written. No, if you've learned nothing from Substack, is that you should market the thing before it even exists. Okay, so it's there. No, one of my ideas for if I ever like was the leader of the FilmStack challenge of the month. I'm just gonna give it to you because I think it'd be cool in your book. I want to do an experiment. It's like a cultural anthropology experiment where you write about your theatrical experience, but you cannot talk about the movie at all. You don't even mention what you saw. You mention what you like smelt and heard and talked about and what you did after and what you did before. And I think people will be into that because they like being the main character in their own story. And I also think it would be really interesting from a theatrical exhibition standpoint to understand like what to be able to articulate what is different about theatrical experience as opposed to just streaming it online.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's fantastic. I'm definitely going to pinch that. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I realized
another challenge though. So if you
no, that's it. Yeah. I'll quid pro quo and all that. I realize time's getting on. I hope I haven't sort of been overbearing with the time. So very quickly, I'll just put this up online. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this, so I can read it out if you want me to. But this is the top 25. Can you see that at all, or is that very pixelated?
It's probably best to read it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've seen the top 10. So one battle after another. But just to see, I can give you the total points there. One battle after another, 249. Sinners, 139. Sentimental Value, 106. Sorry Baby, 91. Eddington, 79. Begonia, 78. Sirat, 76. The Secret Agent, 74. Nouvelle Vague, 72. No Other Choice, 68. So that's the top 10. 11th was It Was Just an Accident, Jafar Panahi, 65. Hamnet, Chloe Zhao, 63. The Mastermind, it's Kelly Reichardt, isn't it? 55. Weapons, who I can't remember the director, 49. Die My Love was 48. 28 years later, 46. Resurrection, 43. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, 41. The Shrouds, 38. Train Dreams, 37. On Becoming a Guinea Fowl, 34. The Ice Tower, 30. Black Bag, 28. Blue Moon, 27. Wake Up Dead Man, 25. So I'll post, I mean, that's only 25. So there's 191 rows underneath that, which I will post the entirety of. But you can see there that even going back down to 24 and 25, they only had 5 votes each. And they were still in the top 25. So there's a lot of films that got very, one or two votes. If you look at something like Hamnet is a really interesting example that only got 7 votes, but 4 of those were 10s. So people either really registered with that or they kind of didn't. And then Secret Agent again had 5 votes across the board, but then Sorry Baby, if you look, had a lot of votes, but a lot of them were sort of middling again. So that was kind of interesting. Just very quickly, these are the films that are not yet released in the UK. So these are all films, apart from Nouvelle Vague and Rose of Nevada. I haven't seen any of those films. And I've been to some of the festivals as well. So there's quite a lot on there that may have gone in. All of these films will be on the 2026 list for me. They won't be on this year's list. Because I do it in terms of UK releases rather than US releases, obviously. So again, this is where you get, if you do a list that invites both Americans or is global in that sense, then people will have seen different things. So it makes it imprecise. That's it. Final thoughts. I mean, Alex, we were going to say to you to mention something about the London meetup, but I guess there's only me and you who are in London.
Yeah, I'd just be asking you directly, Dario,
yes,
if you were going to come. I don't want to put you on the spot for that. So
there we go.
Oh, good. But people are going to watch at home, I guess, aren't they?
In terms of
Potentially.
Yeah. Everyone, I imagine the entire Filmstack is going to watch.
Oh, of course,
this.
yeah. When I post this, well, if they get through to this 2-hour session, then So that would be great for you to announce that for sure.
So if you're watching this at home, people from the UK, number one, why haven't you turned up here? Don't worry about it. Number two, on the 7th of January will be Filmstack UK in real life meetup number 2, aka Filmstack number 2, and it'll be at around about 6:30. I'm posting. You won't be able to see this. Just go to Filmstack UK IRL Substack. Type that into your search bar, and you'll find us. And the theme is micro cinemas. So if you just think on the word micro cinema when you arrive, that's really all. That's your homework. Just think about the word micro cinema. There you go. People.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Tom says also on Discord for sure. Yeah, you can go to Discord. Sarah, I don't know if there's any other events coming up that, again, you could advertise sort of more broadly in terms of the stuff that you organize, and Amanda and everyone else, Orange, Taylor and everyone.
Yeah, I know Courtney's next non-D50 is going to be in January. I think it's January 13th. Double check me on the date. I think Ted is talking about financing, I believe. I am theoretically doing a second State of Filmstack Zoom, so look out for that if you want to come. In January, probably. I forget what the 3rd Sunday of January is, but probably around there. I know Colby Day from Filmstack has a film showing at Sundance this year. For anyone who's going to that, definitely look it up. I think it's called In the Blink of an Eye, but definitely check me on that. I'm trying to think. Amanda, has LA announced a date yet? I don't think Portland or LA has, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, John just announced it like today or yesterday. January 25th, I think, will be the next LA meetup.
Perfect. And the next one in New York is being hosted by Swabreen. So if you DM her for details on that, I don't have a date or location yet for that. And
I'll put some links in the show notes to this
perfect.
episode.
Yes,
down
thank
below.
You. Look below. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever.
I love that.
What's the YouTube? The really annoying YouTube closer. Sorry, I'm like thinking in real time. I'm trying to remember. But I think that's everything. Anyone can jump in if not.
Anyone get any final things they want to say at all? Any comments?
Just want to say thank you, Dario and Sarah, but thank you, Dario, for setting the whole thing up. It's been really terrific, and this evening's been really terrific. A nice way back from the holidays back into film life. Yeah, so
well, thank everybody. Thank you all for that, Alex, and thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. I hope you had a little bit of fun of a Sunday evening before. I mean, I don't know how many people are going back to work tomorrow, but I hope you had a good time. Anyway, and thanks for everyone who did do their lists, and thanks for especially to those of you who came who didn't do a list and just you outweigh the people who did do lists and didn't turn up. So thanks for that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for doing this, Dario. This was wonderful.
Yeah, it was so nice.
So nice to see everyone.
Thank you. And I actually still have a little bit of watching to do before the end of the year. So this has been really helpful in terms of what to focus on. Thank you.
Right. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Aaron.
Aaron, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you, Dario and Sarah, for doing this. And I look forward to the 2026 of this version of this. I'm looking forward to what's going to come out next year. It's going to be exciting to go see in the cinema.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Cheers.